Welcome to My Therapist is Out. Each episode, we talk with a therapist from Open Space Therapy Collective or LGBT community members about mental health and building community. This week, your hosts are OSTC therapist Kristen Crowe and Terra Friedman. Kristen is a licensed therapist and dance movement therapist. Kristen specializes in working somatically with adults and partners to help heal the mind-body connection so you can feel more grounded and vibrant in every day. Terra is an associate therapist specializing in working with high-achieving women who experience anxiety and with couples and partners who are currently exploring non-monogamous relationships.
As we dive into today's topic, please keep in mind that this is a mental health podcast. We will talk about sensitive and difficult issues that are not appropriate for all audiences. Please take care while listening. And I am Kristen, they, them. I am a licensed professional clinical counselor and a board-certified dance movement therapist.
Heck yeah, you are.
Ooh.
So, we're here. We made it. How are you?
Did. I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad to be here with you. I'm excited to talk about our topic for today.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we want to cover in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We are going to be talking today. This is an episode in our series around identity-based harm, and we're going to be talking about exploring the relationship between embodiment and community care.
Yeah. And so for those of you who are just jumping into this part, please, take a listen to our episode, but then go back and listen to some of the other things that we've been talking about. The episode before this, I think is where we are in the lineup, is Ernesto talking about the series in general and kind of giving a general overview. And then also we have an allyship in action episode, how LGBTQ plus community can support our immigrant community. And that's with Veronica Velasquez during the LA Queer Coalition town hall that we hosted in September. And we have some previous ones, consent in community treatment, and when your identity is deemed, quote, unprofessional, and how to protect your mental health. So all of those are kind of in the same vein as this one. And if you like this one, we invite you to dive a little deeper.
Yeah, if you like this one, you'll probably find some parallels with those ones. Let's talk a little bit about our personal connections to this topic today. What comes up for you?
I think that, we're recording this in October of 2025, which is, doing a thing. And I'm seeing, I think a lot of this stuff come up with clients in the room, and I know that it's coming up with friends of mine, and it's coming up in my own body. And so I look forward to chatting a little bit more about it with somebody else. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those topics, I think, as a collective and as queer therapists that we go through similar things to our clients, and there's less of a separation of what we experience and what clients experience. Like, we're all human and we're all living in this October moment of the 2025.
Accurate statement.
Yeah.
Well then, shall we talk about some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about and give some folks some context?
Let's define some terms.
All right, sounds good. Do you want to handle the identity-based harm piece? Go for it.
So, identity-based harm is harmful or abusive behavior specifically targeting somebody's identity or identities, such as race, gender, sexual orientation, ability, religion, any identity. It can manifest as microaggressions, hate speech, online harassment, physical violence, social damage, and can really highlight feelings of insecurity and can be really damaging across that whole spectrum. Often results in psychological and emotional wounds and can really damage self-esteem. So
this is the kind of harm that stems from ongoing prejudice, oppressive systems, marginalization, and the cumulative impact that this day-to-day, month-to-month experience has on somebody's self-worth and belonging. And so the names that we put to this kind of harm are things like racism, ableism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, religious intolerance. These are all falling under identity-based harms.
Yeah. Oh, heavy stuff.
Yeah. If you're listening, maybe if you want to, roll your shoulders.
Because I think we are.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm saying this because I'm rolling my own shoulders. So maybe full inhale, exhale.
And thanks for the segue into embodiment. I'm not going to lie. That was nicely done. So something else we're going to talk about a lot today is embodiment. And when we talk about that, we're talking specifically about the physical experience, subjective experience, and awareness of one's own body. That can be sensations, that can be the way that you are moving, it can be the way that you are holding or not holding your breath. And just kind of this idea of understanding our own body intelligence and what it might be trying to tell us to help us understand ourselves a little bit better. And as we listen and kind of tune into that, hopefully giving us some freedom to choose actions and the agency that comes with that instead of just reacting in the moment to what, we've been taught or what feels like it's the path of least resistance, but what do we actually need in that moment?
Mm-hmm. We are going to be exploring these ideas of identity-based harm and embodiment in the context of community care. So community care is this idea of a collective responsibility for one another's well-being. If we're all connected and we're all in community together, then our wellness is interconnected. This includes accessibility, so making sure that everyone can access support and resources, everyone in the community, especially the most vulnerable, especially the people who there may be the most systemic barriers to accessing that support. And you can probably guess this one, that there's empathy and understanding built into that your experience might be different from someone else's, your access or your societal barriers might be different. And so we build relationships based on deeply caring about one another's experiences. And important for today, sharing our own experiences as well. And allowing ourselves to be seen and heard and held in community.
I guess just as an aside, that's kind of why it feels so nice to work here.
Yes. 150%.
Yeah. And to have the clients that we do. Because I know that therapy is not for us, but also, being able to hold that experience I feel really honored to be able to do that on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. It is a pouring back into community.
Let's shift into some of this. So if we are talking about being embodied or disembodied, and we look at that as being connected or disconnected from community care, what comes to mind?
The somatic, or like the physical lens, in terms of when we're disembodied, we're not connected to our body's signals. And when we're not tapped into community, when we're not feeling connected, we're sort of disembodied, metaphorically, from like the community emotional experience and the community identity experience. And that can show up physically, cognitively, culturally, spiritually, relationships. That can show up everywhere.
Yeah. So we're looking at like a person's holistic experience of like whether we are connected to our bodies or not, whether we're connected to our community or not, and how those things can feel really isolating.
Yeah. I think about this, something that I've seen and heard a lot of folks talking about is like individually, we can't necessarily make collective change individually, or we can't collectively heal individually. And so I think about that relationship between connection to your own body and your connection to your community.
So when we're talking about like what we're seeing with folks in the room, how are you seeing that show up with your folks?
So I'm seeing people who hold one or more marginalized identities feeling disconnected from their body and then and thus like kind of struggling to be taking up space and being held in community, and vice versa. So I see like internalized homophobia coming up in this people pleasing, like overachieving, perfectionistic drive. This sort of duality between not feeling like enough in a society who has made you feel that way, and then this desire to really push yourself, and even sometimes feeling like too much. We hear a lot. I mean, I hear a lot. I wonder if you hear a lot. This kind of duality between feeling like too much in some spaces or in some ways and not enough in others. And that kind of duality can be really difficult to sit with.
Yeah, it's really hard. And, like that push to do stuff and that perfectionism, like I see that folks kind of trying to take on too many things, but I also see that in a lot of like, I'm not going to do anything at all. Mm-hmm. And so that experience gets to be additionally isolating because they're experiencing like the helplessness, powerlessness of the things that are happening and have nothing to reflect differently because they're sitting in isolation. And that is a really difficult place to sit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes me think about the sort of all or nothing kind of mindset, in that like striving, pushing so far past your emotional or social or physical limits to do that overfunctioning, overachieving, or completely like crashing and having no energy and being like, okay, I'm not doing anything. And we see that sort of with embodiment too, that this either like really heightened physical state where you're so in your body and it's overwhelming, or complete shutdown where you dissociate or leave your body because it's too much.
Yes. And sometimes it swings between the two things without finding the middle ground.
Yeah.
So it's such an, it's the pendulum, right? It's like, I'm all the way over here, but then I don't spend any time in the middle and then I'm stuck on the other side. And a lot of the spaces that folks with multiple marginalized identities like are forced to inhabit, right? Like it's a lot safer to be in the spot where you don't feel anything because microaggressions aren't just verbal, they're nonverbal. They're the person that's looking you up and down and sideways for doing whatever. They're the turning your body or crossing the street away from somebody. And then there's the absolute like overt verbal stuff. And so like it makes sense to shut down and protect yourself from that. Shut yourself off from your body so you're thinking about that. You can rationalize about it instead of feeling the impact that it has on you as a whole human being.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then that to sort of connect that with the community piece, that same type of thing happening in the sense that the types of spaces that are available for people or that people with marginalized identities are kind of shoehorned into are the spaces often where we're looking for connection, we're looking for like relief and cohesion and support, and to give, like to receive those things and to give those things. And those are sometimes the spaces where these microaggressions, like someone saying something that the words are nice, but the tone is weird. Holding an event that you are, I forget what it's like, inclusive but not welcoming. That's that's not the same thing, and you can feel it when yes you're allowed to be here, but that's a different feeling than feeling like you're a part of it. We want you here.
Yes.
And so people feeling really disconnected, either trying to throw themselves into communities that don't necessarily fit because that's what's available, and then receiving that harm and completely withdrawing because that feels safer to be isolated.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, I love the idea. I don't love the idea. I love the verbiage because it feels so clear. Let's clarify that, please.
Yes.
About the like shoehorning in, right? Like there are so many places where you might hold one of those identities, but you're the only person that holds a different additional identity. And then that one is really offsetting to the rest of them. The one that usually comes to mind for me is like the neurodiverse versus neurotypical one. It's like you might be in a space where like that's a thing, but maybe everyone in the room is not a person of color and you are. Or like, and like, so you feel like you're held to different standards. Or is it disability, or is it immigration status? Like, is it one of those things that make you just feel really othered, even if the other part of you is being held because you don't quote unquote look like everybody else or fit in like everybody else? Depending on that too, like, is there, do you feel like you have the privilege in some of those areas? Like, and then do you not feel as connected, or do you feel more marginalized and so you can't relate either? And I think that something you and I had discussed even before this was like, it can happen to literally anybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like I think we even had the standard that we think about, like the white cis heterosexual Christian nationalist, able-bodied neurotypical man. And we're like, well, there are going to be some places where that person is going to feel like they are also, like marginalized in some way because the system has told them so. Whether or not we believe that, it does come up as an experience that the person can have.
Sure. Like there is no identity or combination of identities that any human can hold that makes them immune from experiencing isolation or the kind of disconnection from body and community that we're talking about. Sometimes that is we talk about this like kind of archetype of all of the privileged identities.
Yes.
And this is harmful for that person as well, right? Because like that person with all of those identities is not supposed to be allowed to have feelings according to our society. So this is relevant for anyone. Of course, there are identities and intersections of identities who are experiencing extreme and have been historically experiencing extreme levels of identity-based harm and community isolation. This can apply to anyone.
Yeah. And I think that it's like internally gross as that sort of makes me feel like, yeah, like it's just you're right. No one is immune to it. And like, it's such an odd thing that we want to pit each other against one another in such specific, painful ways of which most of us have absolutely zero control.
Right. And that stands out to me as the critical thing, is that this is not good for anyone. This is good for the systems that it upholds.
I'm going to move away from I would like to get on a soapbox, and I'm not going to do it. That is my statement that I make every stupid podcast episode. I'm like, I'm not going to stand on a soapbox.
We'll need to have an episode called Kristen's Soapbox for all those. I'm sure I love to hear them. I'm sure other people want to as
well. So I know that our last series, when we were talking about, we had Jose's story from Phoenix Project. We talked about like healing versus coping and some of that too. And I think that there is a lot of like rhetoric around the ways that we're supposed to be coping with this, but really like taking a bubble bath or, doing your breathing exercises, like they're not going to heal you. They might be ways that you can cope for a little bit, but like community is the way that you can actually find some healing, because you can have those experiences reflected back. You can have your experiences held. And especially in times like these, having those community connections can be so impactful.
Yeah, I hear a lot. I think like in an individualistic culture, we hear a lot about what like nobody owes anybody anything. And I guess that's what boundaries have turned into. I don't know how that
No,
happened. Don't know how that happened. That's
more
not what they are.
soapbox.
We have episodes on boundaries. Promise it's not that.
Yeah.
But this idea that we can only heal like in isolation as an individual in an hour of therapy a week. And that's not the case. Like community connection and allowing yourself to be seen and held by your community, being able to start to take up space. And like we took that inhale and exhale together and like let our bodies expand in this tiny community. Like it's just two of us and everyone listening also. But like that's a moment where we're letting our bodies expand and we're talking about these things openly in a moment of a little bit of community.
Yeah.
So community is where the healing happens.
Yeah, and I think that's, we're in a time frame for anybody who stumbles on this so far in the future that what is time? But like ICE is a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and communities of color are scared.
Mm-hmm.
And anti-trans legislation is at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
Today, apparently, early circumcision causes autism. So, like, there are some. So the neurodiverse community is also hearing some stuff. So that's
we're losing access
understatement here. Yes,
to healthcare across lots of different groups. Reproductive rights, things like that. We could keep going, but I think, we've illustrated.
I think we have. Sitting and spinning in all of this in isolation is not the thing that's going to get you through. Like, nervous system regulation isn't necessarily goal or like going to be achievable at this moment. Like, can you have periods of that? Yeah, but like, can you use that embodied experience to actually channel that into something that is community-based, that is actually giving you some agency and some choice instead of feeling like you're powerless and being steamrolled by all of this, because that is the point, right? So how do we bring this back into what we need?
And just the same, like speaking of continuing what you were talking about, regulation, there's no like moral value to regulation or dysregulation. And the same way that like fear and anxiety can be contagious, so can groundedness and connection and confidence. And so I think for a lot of people, the fear is I'll feel worse. It won't go well if I go be in community. I'll feel worse. I'll feel more anxious or more sad or more lonely. And I just offer, what if the other side of that is possible too? What if you will feel better, more connected, more grounded, more supported?
Yeah. From my own personal experience, like that's a true thing, right? Like I am queer, I am neurodiverse, and I am Asian. However, I'm only half Asian. And so I have wanted to occupy Asian spaces, but I am usually feeling I am not Asian enough because I am not full-blooded, right? And I have had people tell me that is a true statement. And then if I go to white spaces, they're like, well, no, absolutely not. And so it's a really tough thing to hold both experiences, but like I have found actual community in like mixed Asian communities, and like that feels like a much better fit, and we can talk about those experiences. And so just maybe to anybody who's listening who feels like it's not going to happen, like there are spaces, and sometimes it does take some trial and error. We're not saying that you're going to go out and find the perfect one off the bat, right? Like that's completely unrealistic, but like continuing to search for that thing, because it does happen. It can happen.
It can happen, and you deserve it. You deserve it. Everyone listening deserves it. Just by nature of being.
I appreciate that reminder.
Absolutely. I mean, thank you for sharing your like how this is connecting for you personally as we're talking about this. And this reminds me again of that yes, we're therapists, but we are human people. And
Yes.
so again, like this is a topic I think that really we are out there in the feelings, in the experiences with our clients. This is something that we hear expressed a lot by bisexual clients, that they are looking for connection and community, especially maybe clients coming out later in life, looking for community and connection and hoping to feel welcomed, and really struggling in gay or lesbian spaces. And then finally dropping into a bi space or a queer space that feels like a really good fit, and being able to find that sense of connection and community. And then that giving them the confidence to like start to take up more space in their life, in their body.
Take up all the space, guys.
All the space. Yeah.
Hey, Renee popping in just for a minute to say thank you for listening. We really hope you are enjoying the conversation today. Any chance you have to rate, review, subscribe, and share with a friend makes a huge impact, and we greatly appreciate it. If you have extra bandwidth and want to support the show even further, you can go to mytherapistisout.com and click the donate button. Any donations from $5 a month to a one-time donation makes a huge difference for us. We're a little self-published podcast, so any extra dollar helps. Again, go to mytherapistisout.com and hit donate. Now back to the show.
How do you know that you are disconnected from your body?
Some of the ways that I think can be sort of accessible check-in spots are like when you need to go to the restroom, or you're hungry, or you're tired. When do you notice that? Like, is it all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom immediately right now? It's all of a sudden an emergency. Of course, like some people experience that for different reasons. But if you are hungry, is it like 0 to ravenous? Mm-hmm. If it's tired, is it fully awake to falling asleep? Those can be some signs that, I mean, because that doesn't so much happen. It's not so much unless there's other things going on that you're going from 0 to ravenous or 0 to falling asleep. But it means that only when that feeling gets really intense, or that need from your body gets to like a 9 or a 10, that then you're hearing it. So that's one of the things that's one of like the inroads that I think about if you're wanting to explore if you're feeling connected to your body or not.
Definitely, speaking from the neurodiverse perspective, like I am totally guilty of, I haven't peed for 8 hours. That's not normal.
I totally feel you. Me too. Like we're not immune. We're humans.
No, we're not immune. And I am a therapist that practices pretty much exclusively somatically. So like just sometimes it's a thing. I think from the emotional perspective of like whether or not you can feel those things, I find like everybody else around me seems to be panicked, seems to be sad, seems to be happy, and I am just here. And so like I think if you notice that like other folks are having some sort of reaction and you're not, then maybe that's worth exploring. But I do find that my folks who are disconnected from emotions can feel that that is not where they want to be. We get around that with really good intellectualization skills. Yes. This is how I know that I feel. Do you feel it? No.
I Googled this and it's the definition of it.
Yes.
So, yes, exactly. Or I read the book about this.
I read the book, but yes. It's a good one too.
Yeah.
And I have also been that client.
Sometimes I still am.
Sometimes I still am.
And just a reminder, in case you need it, anyone who's listening, these are not personal failings. These are not bad individual things. This is not pathology. This is understandable, reasonable responses to the systems we live in.
This is your body trying to cope with the things, cope with the pressures, cope with the scaries. Scaries is absolutely the clinical word for that, but yeah.
That's how I learned it.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And it's sometimes the thing, the instinct that our body or brain has to protect us in times when others are some of the things that feel threatening, like the system feels threatening, and that's embodied in the legislators or the, all of those entities who are continuing to perpetrate these like larger scale harms. Our body's instinct can be isolate. This is where we like start to introduce a little bit of the something in between all and nothing. It's not that we want to be isolating all at once or isolating at all, but that can be the instinct to stay safe.
It's the gray space in between. It's the ambiguity in between. It's the unknown and the in between that feels real scary sometimes. But it's all part of like building the tolerance for all the things.
And that's a process.
So much process.
That's a process.
Okay. What's the process look like?
What do we do?
What do we do? What do we do with it? Okay, so I think in black and white, and I need to know what's in the middle.
Yeah.
How?
One of my favorite ways that you talk about this, Kristen, is around like building bridges into spaces that feel like not danger zone, but growth zone, like a little bit outside of comfort zone. Maybe doing a little bit of a movement exercise experience that brings you into your body in a really gentle way for like 5 minutes, starting really small, so you can build a bridge to that sense of it being okay. Your body and brain is so ready, so primed to anticipate it being overwhelming or damaging or dangerous or scary. So this idea of like little sips, build a little bridge, then look at the bridge, then put a toe on the bridge.
Yeah. Maybe your whole foot. Nothing else, just your foot.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I'm glad that feels helpful. And I think that it's both ways, right? Like it's the since we're talking about like figuring out how to be in community and figuring out how to be in your body, like I don't know why this keeps coming to my brain, but then Spicy says that I have to say it. So the idea of like, I have to love myself before I can be in a relationship and I can be loved by somebody else. And I hate that. But it comes up in this idea for me because, like you might not be embodied at all. You might be like, I want to be isolated. I feel nothing and I intellectualize everything and everything is really scary, but I'm going to try being in community. And the safety that you feel, like being held in that space, might give you the permission space to tap into what you're actually feeling because someone else is like holding that for you or demonstrating that for you or providing you the empathy. And you're like, oh, this is a safe space for me to feel that? Okay. Or the other way where you've worked so much in your own personal therapy or whatever to like get into your body. You're like, well, I have all these feelings and I don't know what to do with them. Right. And so it's like, okay, well, how can I actually be engaged in my community so I can feel like that gets to go somewhere? And then how does that help you build into that because you feel like you have the spoons to connect. And so I think it gets to go both ways, but there, like you said, like there is a bridge that needs to be built from both directions, right? It can't just be like, it doesn't always just go one way. You don't have to be one before you can be the other.
Right. I mean, I hear you saying that there's no one way or no right way to do any of this.
What? Did I say that?
Yes, I think so. And I very much agree that there's you can heal in community, which can help you have the sense that you can take up space in your own body and inhabit your own body. You can build those skills in therapy or however else you want to build your connection to your body, and then feel more empowered and a little bit more confident and trusting to be able to go take up space in community. But there is this like fun, bi-directional sort of possibility to both. Do you have a tip or like if someone's listening to this and they're like, okay, I want I want to start now. Oh, also, before we even say that, more and faster is not always better. Okay. Just, just stating that explicitly, directly, just in case.
Yeah. There is a thing that like building tolerance thing. Like you don't throw a person who can't swim into the deep end of the pool, especially if they're phobic of water. We start with a small, and so thank you for that reminder.
I needed it.
Well, yeah. So that's the analogy that comes up, and the idea, like if we're coming from a really embodied perspective, is that your nervous system isn't wired to like have such a sudden change, right? Like if you are very tense and like nervous, anxious inherently, and that's how you've been for a while because hey, that's how the system is treating this. If you go into full like regulation, like you're completely tapped into your parasympathetic nervous system, your body is going to go, excuse me, what is this? And it can freak itself out some more because you haven't built any tolerance for either direction. So what you wanting to go into the other space, I understand that side looks more comfortable, but you haven't taught your body that it's safe to be there yet. So yes to that reminder.
Yes. A solid part of comfort is familiarity, even if it feels bad. Familiar. Brain and body can sometimes prefer familiar over safe. So with that in mind, if someone's listening right now and they're like, I am aware that I'm not going to dive headfirst into this. We're not swan diving into the deep end, but I would like to start taking some little steps into either embodiment or being in community. Do you have any recommendations for them?
I like to help folks find small ways to ground into their bodies first. Because as you said, like you might have a baseline of like, this feels familiar, but your familiar might be a little freaked out. But if you go into a new space, you might be like a lot freaked out. Again, super clinical terms. And maybe we just need a way to get back to like a little freaked out. And so I will work in session helping folks figure out what it is that their body might be craving. So there might be, they like breath work. Okay, let's try a couple of different breathing exercises and see which one works for you. I myself need a much more like tactile experience. And so you and I both have an affinity for fidgets.
Yes. Maybe.
We need to be sponsored by that particular brand. I won't say it out loud. But anyway. But if I don't have a fidget with me, I am very prone to like just putting my hand on my stomach or putting my hand on my chest to being like, you are here. Your body is not in danger. Like this is the boundary of where you start and stop. And like other people can or cannot have permission to come in. You get to decide. I get to decide. And so if I'm starting to feel dysregulated, like I will put a hand there because those are where I feel the most connected. Sometimes I have folks put their hands on the back of their necks, right where the base of their skull is. And if you release your head into your hands there and just give some weight, like you are literally supporting yourself like you were when you were an infant. And that feels nice. So those are like little things that go beyond the, 5 things I can see thing. If I have one more person tell me. I saw this on Instagram.
Yeah. I like those tips a lot because they're super accessible. Like you can do them kind of anywhere. Most people won't really notice if you just are resting your hand on your stomach. And they're really gentle entryway points into inhabiting your body. I also like that you talked about speaking out loud, whether like out loud verbally or out loud directly in your brain, but your body hears you. Your body hears what you say to it. So I like that idea of really intentionally telling your body, you're safe. right now you're safe. And you get to make choices. You get to decide if people can be around you or not, and what you do with your body. In terms of community, any thoughts on how people can start to find communities, whether they're accessing right now communities that don't feel like the best fit, or if they're really struggling to get started?
It's the $1 million question.
It is, especially in Los Angeles.
Yo.
Can be a tough place to build community.
It can. Honestly, if I'm talking to clients, I would love to know what you do too. But when I'm talking to clients, like, we will talk about things that actually just interest them to start with. Like, okay, I'm into reading. Well, that sounds like a very solitary activity. And there are silent book club meetings that happen all over. So like, can you just go take your book and like try this thing and like see if you want to talk to somebody? Or I like working out. Okay, then can we find you like a gym that feel like everybody gym, or like places around? I mean, I don't live in LA, so I don't know these things, but like these places, like, they exist, right? And so like, how can you start a search by even searching like queer affirming gym, queer affirming whatever, if that is the community
book club,
right?
I don't know, just saying.
Yep. Instagram and Google know a whole lot of things.
Yes.
That like Instagram accounts, there's like being queer in LA.
Mm-hmm.
There is Sapphic LA. Mm-hmm. There is Everywhere's Queer. Mm-hmm. There is Hey Fam. Mm-hmm. There is I guess for queer Asians, there's Queer Asian Social Club. Like, they're all right. So those are where I start. What do you do?
I think I just want to like really highlight Google. Because I know it seems almost too easy. The amount of sessions that I've had with clients who are really struggling with this and really feeling isolated and lonely. And we start to talk about how they might build community. And they're like, oh, I forgot you could Google that. And it's like, sometimes I think Google and looking things up on the internet is so ubiquitous, we forget that it exists. I totally do that too.
Yeah.
So you said it, Google. And like, just throw in some key search terms. That's great. I also think one of the things about building community is that it's slow. Like, sometimes you'll be joining the perfect fit community that already exists and they already meet every Wednesday and it's exactly right for you and your schedule. Other times you're sort of gathering community. You're on the path to building community. So maybe you go to that gym, a queer gym that really works for you. And maybe you meet one person. Maybe you talk to one person, and that person you invite or invites you to an event where you meet one more person. And then maybe the three of you go to a space that feels like a really good fit in the same or a different way. There isn't necessarily this like finish line or necessarily this one thing you're trying to tap into that is like just hidden from you. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's this building process. So I think consistency is unfortunately really important.
Yeah. And it's really hard to have spoons for consistency sometimes, which I kind of think is where the embodied piece comes in, right? Like, how can you tap in and know what you really need and know that, like, you know what, today that new friend invited me to this really amazing sounding concert, and that sounds like too many people. So maybe that friend will want to meet me for dinner beforehand, and then they can go to the concert.
Totally. Yeah. And that kind of sort of nuance between, I guess I can't go, and I guess I won't have any social connection, and I guess I'll be lonely and I won't have community today, versus I'm going to force myself to go to this concert even though I know it's going to really take it out of me. You already have this. This is where therapy is, where you can start to practice. Like, your therapist will help you. I promise. Well, I shouldn't promise.
No, you shouldn't promise.
Shouldn't promise. Your therapist could help you.
Could. Yes.
Could help you. start to find a space where it's like, okay, well, maybe I can let them know I can do dinner before. I'd love to see them. I'm gonna have to miss the concert, but I hope they have a good time. And you still get to stay embodied and to be in community.
Yeah. And building that like little bit of tolerance for the in-between, right? Like I had to set a boundary for myself because I had to listen to myself. And I didn't have to do all or nothing, and it was okay.
Yeah. And it was okay. It was okay. Yeah. I think that kind of brings us to near the end of this particular journey. We've got a couple of things for you to look out for, right? Coming up, we're going to be hearing an episode with Renee and Jose Rosario from Phoenix Empowered, who specializes in trauma recovery and empowerment from identity-based harm. And then we're going to have an episode with two of our other therapists, Allison and Jenny, generational strength and community healing.
All right, so before folks transition into listening to those other episodes, thoughts on what we talked about today? What are some things that we hope that people took away from this? Or what did you take away from this?
Well, as you were saying, and it will be okay, or like, and it is okay to be in between all and nothing. I think that's a big takeaway. Especially in terms of this thing we talked about of like too much, not enough. And that polarization or those extremes, it's okay to live in between. It's okay to do a little less. It's okay to lean into community and into embodiment a little more. How about you? What are your takeaways?
I think that it is reminding me that it's okay to lean harder into one or the other, depending on what I need for the day. I work really hard to be in community, and I work really hard to be embodied, but sometimes I do tend to push for the one that I think I'm supposed to do that day. So the reminder that it can be one or the other, and it doesn't have to be both. See, my own human experience.
Yep. And it can be whichever one you need that day.
Yes. Yeah. I think that we'd like to know what folks think about this. And if you want to share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it, we would love that too. I think we'll...
Oh, before we forget, queer moment of joy. If you want to, you can share this one with me, because this is maybe my queer moment of joy right now. And just getting to have this conversation with you and being in little mini queer community.
Yeah. I like that. That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, then we'll pass it off to a queer moment of joy for our community. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Right. My name is Matthew Schmuck. My pronouns are he, him. And a moment of queer joy I recently experienced. I got engaged recently. Thank you. I'm very excited. It was something that I never felt belonged to me. So it's really meaningful for it to be a part of my life now.
Hi, my name is Catherine Kataris, she, they pronouns. And my moment of queer joy was most definitely just today when I had the opportunity to write about the queerness of nature, the joy of being queer in nature with a group of attendees today. And we found that we all cared for reciprocity, collective care, and joy. And so it's been such an honor and so meaningful to be here today. So thank you.
Thanks for joining us. If you're in California and looking for a therapist, visit our website at openspaceptherapycollective.com and book a free intro call with one of our therapists. If you're enjoying My Therapist Is Out, please rate, review, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Do you know somebody who could use a little extra dose of queer community? Send them one of your favorite episodes of My Therapist Is Out and help our collective grow one listen at a time. My Therapist Is Out is an open space therapy collective podcast, and our podcast editing is done by Rachel Peltzer and Smash and Grab Studio.
We'd love to hear from you about today's topic, so email us at info@openspaceptherapycollective.com. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Open Space Therapy Collective. Thanks for listening.